Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Taste. My name is James Scaresbrook, aka the Intrepid Wino, and I'm really excited about my guest for this week's episode of the Vincast, my wine podcast, which if you haven't listened to, please go straight onto iTunes and subscribe to the podcast, or you can find all the episodes at intrepidwino.com. But Mario Marson is my guest for this week's episode, which I think is episode 65 or 66. And he, amongst other things, has a wonderful vineyard in Heathcote, which he planted, I think, about 15 years ago, to a number of varieties, including some Italian varieties, which, of course, you know, I love Italian varieties and want to try as much as possible. So he was very generous enough to bring along a couple of bottles of his Sangiovese, two different vintages, so kind of similar to what I just did with the Carle Estate Nebbiolo wines. I'm going to look at two different vintages of the Vinea Marson Sangiovese. So we've got the 2010 and the 2011. So I'm going to open them both and sort of compare the vintages for your viewing pleasure. Just to let you know, I've just set up another Let's Taste Live with myself and a guest, similar to the Grenache tasting that I did, the first Let's Taste Live. Going to look at Australian Rieslings, which is going to be very interesting. Riesling wines from around Australia, so I cannot wait. That will be, I think, on the 28th of September, and then I'm actually going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus as I'm going to Sardinia, come on, in October. Wow, I'm doing a real hat job of this. This is really stuck on. Yeah, I'm going to spend 3 weeks in Sardinia at a winery for part of the vintage, so that's going to be awesome. Picking grapes, hopefully doing a bit of winemaking as well. Just learning as much as possible. So, yeah. Okay. So let's start with the 2010. It's a lovely sort of, it's a classic Sangiovese colour. It's more sort of brick in colour. It doesn't have the dark notes, and it's, you know, it's reasonably light in terms of like consistency. It's got sort of red fruits, raspberry, red cherry, some pomegranate. It's more in a savoury kind of realm, sort of a little bit leafy, a bit earthy as well. There's no real evidence of oak in there. I'd say that it's probably got a fair amount of mature oak, but nothing too full on. It's quite intense, but not, you know, really over the top. Let's taste. Quite lively on the palate. It's got some concentration to it. Nice, kind of deep fruit alcohol. Tannins are again present, but not over the top, not too aggressive. Very well contained. It's a really beautiful expression. I've loved the Vinea Marson Sangiovese for a long time. I think Sangiovese, this is the wine that makes me think that Sangiovese is by far the best variety for Heathcote, and Heathcote is probably the best region for Sangiovese. Really, it's very bright. It's got some pretty fruit notes as well. So the concentration there, and slight sort of grainy, earthy kind of tannins. That combination of characteristics between the fruit and between the sort of more savoury notes, what is going to get lots of people on board with this, hopefully. So let's have a look at the 2011 and sort of see how that compares with the 2010. 2011, from memory, was an earlier vintage, I think. Mario, if you're watching this, please feel free to correct me. This probably isn't as kind of jumping out of the glass as a 2010. It's a little bit more subtle, it's a little bit more restrained. It's got a similar sort of fruit profile to it, you know, that red fruit character. But somehow a little bit riper, but also more contained. Let's taste. This one's sort of stalkier, leafier, more of that eucalypt character, which is not uncommon in Heathcote Shiraz, and a bit minty. It's still got that, again, that sort of savoury, sort of tomato leaf, heading into, you know, a little bit of meat note, but yeah, it's more in that kind of herbal realm. The fruit's definitely there, but this one seems a little bit kind of stalkier, a little bit more old world perhaps. But this one speaks more about Heathcote, in my opinion. You know, where like one of the things that I like, but people possibly might not, about Heathcote Shiraz is it kind of has a red licorice character to it, which I mean, I love licorice. It's one of my favourite things in the world. But some people probably don't like licorice. But this is they're quite different, the two vintages here. So it's great to see a vintage specific expression for these two wines, and I think they've got a lot of aging potential in both of them. So there you go, guys. I just had a look at two vintages of the Vinea Marson Sangiovese from Heathcote, made by Mario Marson. Please go and listen to the episode of the Vincast for this week. It's really fantastic. Mario shared some really fantastic stories and insights, so I highly recommend it. Please do leave me a like if you enjoyed this video, and make sure you subscribe to the Intrepid Wino channel, and go and look at some other Let's Taste videos under the Let's Taste playlist. Come and visit me at intrepidwino.com, follow me on social medias, and otherwise, until next time, cheers.